Hello, everybody. April, you're here. Hi. So good to see you. How are you? Everybody, cameras on. We're gonna be getting intimate today. We want to see into each other's eyes. April, how are you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. It's so fun to be back in your sphere. I've been so looking forward to this. My book came out. The book is out.
Congratulations.
Thank
Congratulations.
you. Thank you. I'm so glad
Good
to
to
be
have
here.
you. Oh, yeah. Everybody, hi. Hi, Jaspreet. Good to see you. Everybody, make yourselves seen. This is one of those intimate times where we're not lurking. We're actually going to be working together and getting to know each other. So I'm thrilled that you're here. Hi, user. If you want to update your name, that would be great. Hello. Is it Dina or Deanna? Welcome. I'm glad that you're here. Everybody, come on camera. Let's do something really good today. And while you're here, go in the comments and please tell us where are you coming from? What is your business? Let's get to know each other. Hi, Sunita. Good to have you here. Welcome. Okay, Jaspreet, camera's off, you're at work. Okay, that's fine. Oh, Sarah, you had oral surgery, so camera will be off today. Okay, I hope you feel better, Sarah. Alex is sick. Everybody seems to be sick today. I'm glad you're here. I understand that you're not camera ready. Everybody else, I will be delighted to coach you and be with you. Where are you coming in from? Los Angeles, April, and you're a fiction writing coach. Well, that I knew, but for everybody else, who else? Everybody introduce yourselves. Amrita, you're in Quebec. Hello, hello. Um, I want to hear what is your intention for today? I'm talking about 14 weeks off. And Virginie, your camera and mic don't respond here. Okay. All right. Well, I'm very glad that you're here. Hi, Erin. Wonderful to see you. Hello, hello. Everyone, introduce yourself. Sunita, you're from Chicago and you have a global retreats business. Amazing. Alex, you're in St. Louis. Maybe it's Alex. Alex, you're in St. Louis, estate planning, probate mediation attorney. And Christy, you're coming from Philadelphia. You help people with chronic pain find relief without pain meds, usually spiritually connected mind body techniques. I so believe in that. So that is my way of life. Hello to Jerry. Hello, Cecile. Wonderful to have you. Introduce yourself in the chat, everyone. Dina, is it Deanna? I don't know, North Utah, intuitive coach. Awesome. My intention is to listen with presence and an open heart. That is an awesome intention. Virginie is from the Indian Ocean, Mauritius, l'île Maurice. And Sarah in Charleston. I love Charleston. I have friends who live there, starting a coaching business, helping people witness and work through their patterns. Wonderful to have you here. Hi, Diana. Lovely to see you again. Welcome. Great to have you here. Everyone, we're talking about how to take time off from your business um, today, as many as 14 weeks. So keep it coming in the comments about where you're from. And we have lots and lots of people here without their video. I'd love to see your eyes. I think the eyes are like a portal to someone's heart, and I want us to connect. So if you feel courageous enough, please turn on your camera. Yay, Jaspreet, you've got your camera on. All right, let me share my screen for a second because we're going to do really good work today, tomorrow, and the next day. And I am delighted that you are here. Let me just resize my screen over here. I am coming to you from Provence, where we are about to have our third, count it, third, really like big heat wave, but today is still lovely. Um, 14 weeks off is really an invitation for you to start thinking, hi, Sandy, good to have you here, to have you start thinking about how you can shift your business, build a business that runs without you while you're not there for every single touch point. And this is something that I've been actually practicing on and off, and I'll tell you the off parts for 25 years since I started my business in 1999. And today we are going to start with uh, the map. We're going to do a diagnostic today, and I will teach you two of the six pillars. Tomorrow's another two pillars, and the next day another two pillars. But before we get into it, I just want to say that you don't have to have a business that's got it all figured out to be here. I just want to say, come as you are. Just there's no need for posturing. There's no need to have it all figured out. I'm going to share with you some moments from my career, last 25 years, where it looked like I had it all figured out, and everybody thought I had it all together, and I was breaking inside. And I think it's important to share that because very few people will tell you what really happens when you get to seven figures. Hi, Lindsay. Good to see you. And I want to open the curtain. I want to share with you my ups and downs and what I've figured out over all of these years that has helped me take a lot of time off. And there's a lot of unglamorous stuff, a lot of stuff that, people aren't talking about, but we are going to talk about it. And I'm going to guide you to put some very real things in place today. We're going to put two things in place in your business. You'll do this before we meet tomorrow that will have a radical change, compound change over the years for you to have a business that can be at seven figures for years and take a lot of time off unplugged. So I want to start. Yeah, it kind of is, Virginie. 14 weeks off is kind of my trademark because you know what, Virginie? I don't think anybody is talking about it because I don't know that many people actually doing it, if I'm being honest. And so I'm just going to get really real with you. And we're going to start with one of the things, one of the, if I might, my voice might break because I'm kind of moving the curtain on sometimes where I didn't reveal what was really going on. So, um, if you look at this picture, this was 2009. This is my husband, Derek, and our three kids. And I had just crossed the $1 million mark in October of 2008. So when all the financial crisis was happening in the world, yours truly somehow managed to get her business to seven figures. And I had three very young children, and people are like, oh my God, this is a dream come true. But if I'm being really honest with you, the day that I came home from the hospital, this is my son, Oliver. He is, if any of you are moms or dads, you know what a boppy pillow is. Maybe you know, raise your hand if you know what a boppy pillow is, right? It's like you could nurse the baby, you can hold the baby on your lap, you can put the baby when they were like potted plants, they didn't move anywhere, right? This was Oliver, my son, who is turning 17 in 2 weeks. And I had him in the boppy pillow sleeping on my desk, and I would just tap, 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 tap away. And the reason I'm showing you this picture is because I came from the hospital. It's actually really hard to say. And I never took, it's so hard to say. I never took a maternity leave with Oliver. I took 5 months with Claire. I took 2 months with Luke, 2 or 3 months with Luke. And I would just felt like I had so much work. Wow, I did not expect. Aaron, same with you? What was it for you, Aaron? Like, was it just the sheer amount of work or what was it? Just while I gather myself.
Uh, I literally took my baby to my class with me in my arms and taught my class, and I would come home and stay up till 11 doing a second job because there was so much work and it was all on me.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I had a team, and somehow I just still burnt out. And I remember, so I was living in Stamford, Connecticut at the time, and I remember going to the bus stop because the bus stop for my kids, my two older kids, the bus stop was like the next two houses over. So it was a place where we would all meet the parents to drop off the kids at the bus stop. And I remember doing, if you ever had like the baby Bjorn. Anybody use the baby Bjorn ever? Type yes in the comments, right? And you know the mommy dance where you hold the little hands or the little feet and you move side to side. And I remember my friend Karen, one of my best friends, a neighbor from the next street over, she said, "How are you doing?" And I just remember looking at her and I just, like I shared with you just a moment ago, I had tears welling up in my eyes and I said, and this was September. And I said, Karen, if I can just get through to September, to December for the break, I think I will be okay. And that's when I realized that, yeah, I had a seven-figure business, but the people in my life were missing me. My husband was saying, "Oh, like you're working in the evenings. uh, I'm going to take the kids on Saturday. Do you want to do something?" I'm like, "Oh, I've got to work on this landing page, all these things." And I just kept saying, "One more email and mommy will be right there." This hit, Sarah. Sunita, you have three kids, and so you can relate. Yeah. And has anybody ever said, like, one more email and I'll be right there? Just put yes in the comments or just raise your hand, right? Been there, Cecilia? Yeah. And what happens, I can only speak from my experience as a mom, but I it I was filled with shame and guilt every time I said that. It was like, okay, I started a business so that I could be with my family, so that I would have freedom. Raise your hand like this if you also, like, yeah, we all decided to open up our own business and not work for somebody else because we wanted to have freedom. And I had, and probably you do, you've been there too, I had the least freedom I'd ever had in my life working for myself. Have you ever felt that? If so, put yes or me too in the comments, right? Aaron, I had a six-figure business at the time, growing it, and there was just no time. I got to be with my baby, but always while working, 100%. For Lindsay, April, yes. Maestra, me too. I did too, and I feel that, Tony. Yeah. And I just felt so much guilt. And, it took a lot of dark nights of the soul to realize that, like, what got me here, whether it was six figures at the time or seven figures, would never get me there. And the get me there piece was like, how can I have a business where I'm impacting people, doing work I love, right? Uh, Making good money for me and my family because I was able to get Derek to um, leave Wall Street at the end of 2008 because I had gotten to seven figures and I wanted our family to have freedom if we wanted to, like, go away for a month or like be together. The whole point was, how can the whole family spend more time together? I wanted to do that, but I didn't want to be burnt out and I didn't want to be just, I don't know, tied to my business. So I knew I needed a new approach. And once I started implementing the things that I'm talking to you about today, tomorrow, and Thursday, everything changed. And I this isn't okay. Put me in the comments if you are allergic to hype like I am. I'll wait. Who's allergic to hype? Right. Everybody here, right? We're not stupid, right? So I know that saying, like, and you can have 14 weeks off can seem like thinner thighs in 30 days. It can seem like hype. But I want to share with you that anyone can take as many as 14 weeks off, right? I've been living it and I help other women put that in place. And what I want to say is it just requires a different way of setting up your business. It requires some organization, some planning ahead of time. And that's what we're going to do over the next 3 days together. So, if you know me, you know that my business is called Bold Heart. I put it right here in the corner. Bold Heart is where you take your ear to your heart and you listen hard. And instead of saying, I want to do business like other people that don't have my values, you ask yourself, what does my heart want? What does my heart want for my business? How hard do I want to work? What types of clients do I want to work with? How much do I want to make? How well do I want to be supported? But also, you ask yourself, what do I want my life to look like? What is my version of a delicious life? And you can have that. And I'm going to give you some examples. My heart wants joy, fun, and authenticity. Same, Maestra. We're very similar in that. In fact, I like it. What does your heart want? Please put it into the comments, right? What do you want for your business and your life? I'm going to share with you a bold alternative to the burnout. Time, fun, beauty for April. Virginie, it's doable, implementable while still growing the business. Yes, yes. Cecile, you want joy, freedom, and love. Erin, my heart wants peaceful spaciousness. Lindsay, my heart wants freedom, creativity, simplicity. Danielle, you want to make a difference in the world? I hear you. Same, same. Alex, everything to be in order up to my standards while striking a good work-life balance. Let me just see what's going on here. There we go. Can you see me again? Yeah. Um, Financial and time freedom and flexibility. Yep, Rochelle. Winter in tropics to play. I love that, Sunita. It enables me to live two different countries. Yep, Virginie. I split my time between Paris and Provence. It's not two different countries, but it makes me that's what matters more to me rather than the bling bling that I used to think I wanted and needed. Hi, Karina. So good to see you. Hello, Anne. Hello, Danielle and Barbara. Proud, belonging, purpose. Yeah. Time for Joe and lots of big kid fun with my granddaughter. Love it. So the bold alternative that I want to talk to you about that's really real, and I've done everything that's on this slide, and feel free to take a screenshot if you want, but I want to just paint a picture of what this could look like, this bold alternative to burnout. And it's about you getting to seven figures. Even though you might think from where you're sitting that it's not possible, not for your business, not for you, not with your list size, not with your, what you're charging, all of that. Okay, you can be at seven figures in any business. But what I'm really talking about today is not working evenings. I, I, I know that that might not seem like revolutionary, but when I speak to women, almost everybody has worked evenings recently. And without feeling bad, like with compassion for self, who's worked evenings recently or weekends? Can you put yes in the comments? Like this is a no judgment zone, right? I just told you about my burnout, right? Yeah, right. Now you didn't start off your business to work evenings, but I want to share that you can set it up. Everything we're going to talk about today is about setting it up so you're not working evenings. You can take Fridays free. And for me, Fridays is really just about, sometimes it's about going to doctor's appointments, and sometimes it's about, I remember going to the beach and taking a journal or like sitting in my beach chair pregnant and like tapping, doing EFT tapping on myself, like doing personal growth and development work. But sometimes it's also about taking an extended weekend. And then one of the things I really like to talk about is the words sacred weekends. What do you think sacred weekends means? Can you put that in the comments? What does that mean to you? I'm just beginning and was working weekends and realizing how sustainable it was. Yes, Virginie, you refuse to work on weekends and evenings now, and I don't. Weekends are for my family, not work. Exactly, April. Sacred weekends is time totally offline doing fun things. Like you don't go to your computer. You don't look at Slack on weekends, right? It's also about taking 1 week off per month if you want to. This is what we're going to talk about today, but it's also about taking 2 months off per year if you want to. Like, for example, August and December. I used to do that. Now I'm more in the 1 week off per month because I actually like having a week every single month. We're going to talk about all of that. One of the things Derek and I did, this is especially helpful if you've got a family, is to take quarterly staycations. And what I mean is, we used to live 45 minutes outside of Manhattan, and we would just go away for 1 night or 2 nights in a hotel in Manhattan while the kids were in school. The au pair would take care of them in the evening. And those 2 days or 3 days felt like a week. Anybody ever experience a staycation like that, right? It changes everything. I feel like sometimes we don't even need a week of vacation. We just need 2 days fully unplugged, especially with a person that we love. And for me, and I'm super proud to tell you that my daughter is running this Zoom today. She's 23, and I could not be more proud to be working with her. But we got so close as a family because of the trips that we took together, all five of us. And that that is what the I don't know why I just got something in my throat. That is what it's about. Not about how much you work, not about how much money you make. I really think that for a lot of us, it isn't actually about how much money we make, it's about how delicious our life could be. And so the way that we do this is that we build systems so that the business runs mostly without you in the operations in the day to day. So let's get into it. Oh, I think somebody wrote a check on here. Day one today is about the map. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen because now we're going to just start really working on your business. The map. What does that 14 weeks actually look like? And I want to make a distinction because a lot of times I talk about 14 weeks of vacation, but I don't take 14 weeks of vacation. What I it's not necessarily sustainable if you've got kids at home because they don't necessarily have 14 weeks off, right? They don't. So what I'm talking about is protected time. And I want you to write that in your notes, please. I hope you have a notebook because we're going to do a lot of work together today. Not a lot, but we're going to do meaningful work. Protected time is where you don't owe anybody anything at work. Okay, so write that down. Protected time is where you don't have client calls, you don't have team meetings, you're not working on anything you owe anyone. It's protected, it's yours, and you get to use it as you wish. So sometimes I use my last week off of every month. Sometimes it's not always the last week, I shift it, but the last week off, just write that down in your notes, right? Last week off of every month as a goal, using some of the systems I'll be talking about the next 3 days. And sometimes I'll use it to write a book, right? Sometimes I'll use it to go visit a friend, to take a vacation, to just putter around the house and cook, to read. I want to ask you, yeah, unplugged is the word that I love, right? Totally unplugged, not owing anyone anything. What would you do with a week off at the end of every month? What would you do? Put it in the comments. Would you would do scrapbooking, gardening? I love that, maestra. Write your next novel, April. Yes. Travel for Rochelle. Keep writing for Tony. Write my second book, Alex. But let me ask you this, Alex, and I know you don't necessarily want to be on camera, but feel free to either say it verbally or put it in the comments. What's holding you back from writing your second book? Is
Um,
it that, yeah, go ahead, Alex.
dedicated dedicated time, that protected time concept. Because between clients and kids, I mean, yesterday I sat down to work after lunch, and I had a plan for my afternoon, and both my kids came in and said their throats were hurting and blah blah blah. So all of a sudden, what I had planned for my afternoon was not what my afternoon ended up being. And I got back to it, but then that meant I worked a couple of hours late. So
Yeah. And so that crept into your evenings, right?
correct. Yeah. Yeah. We've all
Exactly.
got some kind of a bug.
Yeah, yeah. And thank you so much for sharing. And Alex, I think that you're also bringing up something that we don't usually talk about, but I'm going to bring it here. And it's a little controversial. Do I have the right to talk about it anyway? Nod your head if you want me to talk about it.
Sure.
Okay.
I mean,
I
I
want to
can't
talk
not.
about I want to talk about the women's second shift. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep. So you've got a full-time job or a full-time business. You're working 8 to 6 or 9 to 6 or something like that. And then you're still responsible for the kids, for the laundry, for the dinner, for the groceries, for the this, for the that, for planning Thanksgiving, planning Christmas, being the one that the school nurse calls because that's the number they have on hand. So we don't have just one job, we have several. So being able to have protected time to do a Nordic walk in nature or thinking time or whatever it is that you want to do or get your book published or do sports or whatever, we need to actually carve it because you cannot work on those things in between client appointments. So before we talk about exactly how, before we get to the two pillars today, I want us to be honest about why it feels impossible right now to take 14 weeks off. And I want to ask you a question, and I'm actually going to put it in the comments. If you stepped away 2 weeks starting tomorrow, no laptop, no email, what is the first thing that would break or fall through the cracks in your business? Put it in the comments. Is it client delivery? No income for Cecile? Nothing would happen in my business that generates income, Karina? Yep. A full-time job plus second shift stepping away means total chaos. Yep, Maestra. No income. Client delivery, lead generation for Lindsay, no income for Joe. Classes I'm teaching for clients and for lead generation, right? For April. Like things would break. Missed opportunities in emails, client sessions, exact. So I just want you to see what, if you scan these, you'll notice that the answers fall in a couple of different buckets. Almost every answer is leading to either a person who doesn't exist yet, write this down, either a person who doesn't exist yet or a system that still lives in your head. I'm going to put that in the comments so you also see it, right? A person who doesn't exist yet or a system that still lives in your head. And because it lives in your head, you can't delegate. You can't have somebody replace you with some of these things, right? Systems, yes, for Virginie, right? So that is actually part of business structure where we get to change the structure of your business. And I want you to hold on to this thought because Thursday I will tell you how to do it. So not tomorrow, but the next day. We need to change the structure of your business. But for today, I want to talk about the very first pillar, and it's called preparing clients. How do you take 2 weeks off so that, and eventually it compounds, right? Over time, you're not going to take 14 weeks off starting tomorrow, but over the next 6 to 12 months, we can put this into place. So pillar one is preparing clients. The principle and the core idea is that if you want to have unplugged time away, it has to be known, right? Your clients need to know. It needs to be expected as to part of how you work with your clients. I am inviting you to build it into the design of your business, not as an exception or not something that's announced like, oh, okay, this one time I'm going to be off for 2 weeks. So the easiest way to take unplugged vacations, there's a few ways of doing it. I've done it all, is to take them at the same time each year. Yeah, it is the design of your business, Alex. Yeah, informing clients ahead is key. Now, you can take that one-off vacation, in 6 weeks, but that's a one-off vacation. And what we're looking for is a way to do this so that it's regular, consistent, and expected. I just want you to underline expected in your notes. So, like I said, one of the easiest ways to take extended vacations completely unplugged is to take them at the same time every year. And I want to share something. I live in France. I'm half French, half American. I was born in France and I lived 36 years in the US. But the idea of lots and lots of vacations is like built into me by being half French. Okay. But there are two words here that exist in France that I believe don't exist in any other country. And these are the words juilletiste and autiste. Can you guess what those mean? Juilletiste is the person who takes all of July off. And autiste is the person who takes all of August off, right? So isn't that funny? Like an identity, right? So I happen to be a juilletiste autiste. I don't take it all off. I'll explain why in a moment. I used to take all of August off and all of December off, and I've judged things then. But it's an identity. It's like I am the kind of person who takes this time off. But then it's about sharing that with your clients and letting them know that you will take either all of July off, all of August off, or that you are the person who takes the last week of every month off. It could be the first week of every month, but I think it's actually easier to take the last week of every month, for example. So how do you do this? How do you share it with your clients? You build your program or your offerings around it. And you mention this time off in your welcome packet to clients. Write that down. They need to know ahead of time that you are not available the last week of every month, or you're not available in August, even before they sign up. So that way there are no surprises later. You don't have to apologize. You don't have to feel strange. They know it. Yeah, it's some of the slowest month in the year anyway. So they are for vacations. Absolutely, Mamadou. And when it's built into the container of what you offer from the beginning, your clients don't experience your time off as an absence. They experience it as, well, this is just the way things are done here. Right? So I'd love to hear in the comments, would you rather take a month off or the last week of every month off? Can you put it in the comments? What would be more feasible? Last week, both? Yeah, I like that. Last week? Yeah. I actually used to do, like I mentioned, August and December, and then a few weeks, elsewhere during school vacations. I actually prefer the last week. So how do you do this? Yeah, it makes sense, right? So how do you do it? You build it into the design of your business, and here's what it looks like. It's not super glamorous, right? But here are the specific concrete ways to do it. You tell your clients in the welcome packet before they even sign. And I'll actually give you the one that I used to have in my welcome packet. So just here is what I had when I first started my business, right? Client, this is the welcome packet with the policies and procedures. Copy this so you can use it in your own business. Client days and hours. Client calls are scheduled Tuesday through Thursday, 9:15 a.m. to 4:45 p.m. Mondays and Fridays are my time to work on my business, as is the last week of every month. These times are also good for you to catch up on your uncompleted assignments. If you send me something via email on Thursday night or Friday, I'll most likely respond Monday or Tuesday. Tell me what you notice about this paragraph that I add to my policies and procedures in my welcome packet. What do you notice? You tell them why it works for them. Exactly, April. Clear expectations, clear meta communication. Thanks, Anne. Thanks, Nicole. Extreme boundary setting. That's right, Jaspreet. And if you've been hanging out, if you listen to my podcast or you've been hanging out with me for some time, you know that I say that women are raised, reared, cultured, bred to be people pleasers and to put the needs of others and the expectations of others before our own. And this extreme boundary setting, if we want to use your words, Jaspreet, is exactly that. We're going to say how it is from the get-go. It is leaderly. I love that, Erin. You're specific and you're not denying them anything, right? You're telling them when you're available. Good role modeling, Sandy. You also set an example. Yes, Karina. I'm glad that's helpful, Virginie. So what you're doing is you're basically clustering access in the first 3 weeks of the month. Now, I believe that there are 2 weeks in the year that have 2 months of the year that have 5 weeks. You decide how you want to do that, right? But this is about framing the last week as an integration or implementation time rather than Fabienne is absent or Sunita or Danielle or Aurelia is absent. It's just the way the program is built. Because, yeah, it's about personal sovereignty. That's right. It can be used in every aspect of life. Absolutely, Jaspreet. Empower them to plan and model accordingly. Yep. And we're going to talk about how to do the same thing with the team tomorrow. So I just want to ask you to drop a yes in the comments if you have ever not told your clients that you are taking time off and you just kind of went and hoped and like checked your email and did all that. Who has done that, right? You didn't tell your clients, right? All the time. Yeah. And so what happens? So Lindsay, is it okay if I call on you? What happens if your clients are not aware? What do you have to do?
Oh, I have to be constantly checking in. I have to be on top of things. So I'm not really taking time off at all
Yeah.
anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're fooling ourselves when we don't tell our clients. We are basically just changing the scenery, but that's when the kids or whoever is like, but what do you mean one more email? Can you put the laptop down and can you come to the pool with me? Can we go get the ice cream? That's the part that hurts because we're putting the needs of our clients before our own. And so the homework that I want to give for you to do before tomorrow, where we're going to meet at the same time, same place, is to draft the one sentence that you would put in your welcome packet materials about your time away. You can use mine as an example. I'm going to put this in the comments. Homework. Draft the one sentence you'd put in your welcome materials, welcome packet, welcome letter, welcome email, whatever it is, about your time away. Yep, that's right, Pat. Very good. Okay, so we're going to share these when we come tomorrow. Okay, that's your first assignment. And the more that you can set this up ahead of time, I know it's just one small thing to do, but you're setting yourself up for 14 weeks in a year. Okay, where virtually all of you said you couldn't leave for 2 weeks now. Okay, let's give each other a high five in the camera just for fun. We're here to support each other. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay. So, pillar number 2 is boundary setting. Virginie says, not informing them, you are answering all the time at all times. And Joe says, I have, but somehow didn't get grief, suppose because I regularly allude to in my regular email broadcast. Very good. Okay, pillar 2 is boundary setting. So now this is about your time away is designed in your business. I want to tell you that this is, again, like, this is a big source of pain for me in my life, in my business. And I didn't admit this to anybody for years. In the beginning, when I was single, I had my business. My first business was a holistic nutrition business. And I set this up from the beginning. I worked Monday through Thursday, and I would take the train. I lived in Manhattan. I would take the train to, what was it? Not Jones Beach. I forget the other beach on Fridays and all of that. And then I met my husband and we got married shortly thereafter. We had kids right away. And when he joined my business after leaving Wall Street, I started no longer taking Fridays off. And I stopped taking the last week of every month off. I would say that I would have exponential growth activity days in my business. And I would not use them. I would work on emails and whatever my team wanted from me. While I had originally set up my business to have these 14 weeks, to have all this time off, I gave my power away. There was also no one who could make decisions without me when the business got more complex. When it was just me coaching and you get 30 minutes a week and you get, it was easy. But as the business got more complex, my boundaries blurred. And that's how I turned into someone who didn't have boundaries anymore. So here's what I want to say. So familiar, Karina, when I still worked for a company, I had one day off. And also when my husband stopped working for a company, I felt as if I had to work all the time. Yeah, feeling guilty, even when I was to take a break for an hour. Same. Thank you for sharing, Karina. Before I tell you how I turned it around, I want to say that if you don't yet have somebody who can help you run your business, this is much harder to do, taking several weeks off, taking a month off here and there. So it helps if you have an online business manager, also known as an OBM. You can go to onlinebusinessmanager.com. Tina Forsyth is a friend of mine. She's a former client of mine. And she has this incredible way of training people to become online business managers that you can hire to run your business for you and with you. Sometimes people say, how is an OBM different than a virtual assistant? A virtual assistant takes tasks. Like, what do you want? How can I help you? And takes tasks. That's hard to say. Takes tasks, right? That's a VA. But a OBM won't ask you. They will tell you what needs to get done. Or it can also be an operations manager, or if you're more advanced and you're already at 7 figures and you want to take more time off, that becomes a fractional COO, fractional chief operations officer, right? And when you have somebody like that that can be the point person while you're away and they can handle things that are thrown your way, this person is somebody who understands your business inside and out, and they become the main contact for your team and your clients while you're taking that last week of every month off. They are your single point of contact, and you have shared with them what genuine urgency means, right? When you say, don't contact me unless it's urgent, you need to be on the same page as to what urgent means. And it is defined in advance with your team. So this is what allows you not to get pulled back in, because they panic and don't know when to bring you in or when not to bring you in. And I've always said, like, unless somebody's bleeding, don't call me on my vacation. Do not call me on my vacation. I don't want Slack messages. I'm not going to see them anyway. Do not text me. It was funny. Derek and I were going on one of our staycations to Manhattan. And I remember that my phone, we were holding hands. We were in the back of a car. And we were holding hands. And my phone wasn't buzzing, but his was. Because he didn't have a point person to field, things that were being thrown at him, and I did. And I just kept saying, give me your phone. Like, tell the person, unless somebody's bleeding, don't contact me. And so if you don't currently have a client or customer care person, having one would be that point of contact, but you need somebody on your team that can take all of your emails, can take all of your Slack messages, all of your expectations, and they are the person that, if something truly urgent happens, can reach you, but no one else knows or is allowed to reach you. No one should contact you unless someone is bleeding. And so your second assignment until tomorrow is, who is your person? Who is going to be your single point of contact? Who could hold everything while you're gone? If you know who that is, put it in the comments now. But be prepared tomorrow to have somebody chosen. Your adult nephew, your VA, Cecile. And if you don't have one yet, it's okay to say no one yet. Just be honest, right? Your new OBM, Danielle. Yep, I know you just brought her on. Your OBM, April. And for those who are typing no one yet, or thinking, I don't have anyone, there's nothing wrong with you. We've all been there, okay? Compassion. But that is information. That information we can use tomorrow and the next day for setting up your business so that you can take time off. We will build that into your business. So that's information, and we're going to come back to it. Okay. Right. So your manager is on maternity leave. Yep. Your VA for sure, Pat. So what I want to share with you is that I gave my power away for very, very many years. I took vacations, but it's not what I wanted. I wanted my Fridays back. I wanted a full week per per year, per month. And with the things that we're going to talk about tomorrow and the next day, I was able to take my power back and say, no, this is how I want it going forward. And little by little by little, I took it back. And I'm extremely proud of myself. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but I'm extremely proud of myself that I was able to get my needs met again. I need freedom. Anybody else? I need freedom. I need freedom in order to be creative. I need freedom for my nervous system because even though I have help, right? Even though my kids are more grown, I am a person who needs quiet time. I need to read. I don't want to go straight to my desk anymore. I want to read. I want to sit outside under my plane tree, my sycamore tree in here in Provence. I want to hear the cicadas. I do not want to rush. I want Okay, I can't believe I'm telling you this. There's a meme in my family. It started with this little skier Instagram. I can't believe I'm telling you this. But the little kid says to their dad something like, "Oh, I don't want to zoom around. I don't want to be, you're a zoom arounder. I want to be a lay arounder." And like my family and I always talk about the fact that I just want to be a lay arounder, not always a zoom arounder. I think perhaps I need to show you the video tomorrow. I think it would be hysterical. I'm sure, Claire, you're like, oh my God, what is Mama saying? I share that with you because you too can take your life back. You can take you've seen it, Carrie Ann. It's so cute. Um, you can take your time back. We started our businesses. We all raised our hands earlier, right? We all started our businesses to have freedom. And so you can. So more on that tomorrow, but today was about communication and expectation, right? The letting people know that this is how we work, and also having somebody who can be there to field things for us. I don't know if fielding is the correct word. Um, these are the two most doable pillars, okay? The ones that you can start right away, right? Because you can put that thing in your welcome packet right away. And if you don't have an OBM, you can start the process right away. Or you can educate your VA, your OBM, whatever. You can educate them about this is what happens when I'm away. You don't contact me, or you contact me for this, but not for that, right? You can put that, you can get those two things set up in place. And then that's the doable part. Tomorrow is where we get more honest, right? This is where we build the method. Raise your hand if you're ready to get a little bit more honest tomorrow. Yeah, okay. Okay, good. So tomorrow we're going to talk about the team that decides how to build a team that decides without you, and the operations that are needed that are currently everything is in your head. And I'll show you an actual if this then that scenario from my own company that allows me to be away for a few days. But tomorrow is where we get real, right? And it's going to be really good. Um, I think that's one of the most useful hours of the three, although I would say that about the third as well. What I would love to hear from you or even raise your hand, who got an insight today or put your insight in the chat? How are you feeling right now? What was the thing that really, who wants to share? Just raise your hand in the bar. Yeah, Carrie Ann. Yep. Hi.
Hi, Fabienne. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm well. It's good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
So, it's so funny. I'm kind of busy this week preparing for some guests, so I was thinking, yeah, I'm gonna try to hop on, but no, I can't. I was doing that back and forth.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad I did because so last week you remember I live in Madrid, Spain, so we decided to a friend and I took a week and went to the mountains for a little mini vacation. But I I didn't tell anyone I was going, and I didn't tell my clients, whatever, like that. And literally two of them had like emergencies. That so here I am, and of course, in the mountains, the Wi-Fi isn't that great. So here I am trying to, manage these situations and having conversations with them, and we're like, cutting on and off, and the people at the hotel, it was a small, cute little rustic place, so they were being so generous and trying to fix the problems, and my friend who I was vacationing with is like waiting on me because we were going to go to the river, and I'm just like, this is a hot mess. Like, this is the biggest hot mess in the world. And of course, had I, everything you're saying right now, had I implemented all of this, that would never have happened. So,
Right.
I just
Right.
wanted to share, the realities of what it really looks like because, I went on a mini vacation with my friend because she needed some time to be away. I was going to sort of, support her emotionally. Now, of course, she's fine. She was able to go do something while I'm dealing with my client stuff. And we
Yeah.
did know that something might jump off because there were some, I was giving them heads up. At the same time, I was like, this is ridiculous. This shouldn't
Yeah.
be, and we're not doing this again. So,
Yeah, but we're never taught to do this because
hmm
nobody talks about 14 weeks of protected time.
hmm
So just like we're not necessarily taught how to market our business or taught how to create like a one-to-many business
yeah,
model, we're not taught how to protect 14 weeks. So just I
and
want everybody to have a compassion for themselves.
yeah, no,
You
and I
know?
think too, Fabienne, a part of it too is, my, I have done a great deal of work in, in, in trying to change the way that I am operate in the world. As a matter of fact, I do a whole retreat here in Madrid for my clients around this whole idea of selecting, building a strong business, but having a soft life. But the reality is, it was ingrained in me from very, very young. I was an attorney, a Washington, D.C. attorney and lobbyist. And the idea of, it's just so ingrained that even though I have stepped away from that type of life where, the hustle and you just got to do the thing, um, it's so ingrained that even when I am living a life that's way more balanced and way more organized and less me doing the hustle, it pops up and it
Yeah.
feels like it should be normal. So even me saying, no, I don't need to actually cancel things, I can manage this, is coming from that place of, I was ingrained from very, very young,
Yeah.
this concept of how to live. And it's a very difficult to walk away from, to break those agreements about what does
Yeah.
it mean to be productive as a woman? What does it mean to be productive as a successful person who owns a business?
Absolutely.
Hmm
I think again, it points to your underlining what you said. It points to how we're raised to put the needs of others and the
hmm
needs of society above. Like, what does my heart tell me? I was on a
Exactly.
Q&A call with our wonderful members of Bold Heart yesterday, and I kept saying, why are we always focused here in the head? Why are
Yeah.
we why are we brainstorming and not heart storming?
Yeah.
Why are we not listening to what our heart wants first? Thank you so much, Carrie, and I really
Thank you,
appreciate you.
Fabienne.
Raise your hand. Yeah,
Thanks
thanks
for
for
everything
being
you
here.
do, really.
Oh, my pleasure. It's good to see you. Maestra, you said many, many insights. Do you want to share some of them? So, in like 30 seconds, our time is up, but if you want to stay a few extra minutes with me, ask me questions, I'm happy to. But Maestra, what were some of your insights?
For me, I mean, I felt your pain when you were emotional because I have two grown girls and I have for the last, oh my goodness, 20 years wanted to break away from my job as a public school teacher And I said, if anything, I'm going to do this in my retirement. And so for the last 10 years, I've tried and tried and tried and tried to uplift this business with all the technical pieces because I can't pay someone to do all that. So I figure, I can get it this way. It doesn't matter because there's just so many things out there. So when I saw your um, workshop here, about 14 weeks off, I thought I want to match the time I have off that I've always had as a teacher. I
Yeah,
value it and I want to block time. And so many of these things, they're there, but that's where they're living and I've got
yeah,
to get them out. So
yeah.
that's one of many. So thank you.
Thank you, Maestra. Thank you
Yeah.
so, so much. So, so much. April, you said make the time away expected. How do you think you're going to do that?
Well, and I think I have a slightly easier go of it because I coach fiction writers. So I think they understand if I say to them, like, last week of every month, I'm working on my novel. This is
Yeah,
how I maintain I'm doing it too. Like, we're in this together. And in the same way that I expect them to carve out time, I need to do the same.
yeah,
And so it actually, and kind of like you did in the blurb that you shared with that, you're setting an example of what you want them to do, of like, actually you have to make time for this thing that's important to you,
yeah.
and setting it up as expected. And then I think also my team, but we'll get more into that. That's where my big
We're,
questions are, is like, how does the team manage it? So
yeah,
we'll tune in tomorrow.
we'll talk. Yeah, tomorrow is where we talk about that. Thanks so much, April. And it's an opportunity for your clients to work on their novels, like you take the last week of the month to work on your novel. We'll do it together, right? Thank you. Um, the client hours in the welcome package, Tony. Exactly. Exactly. Um, dare to say it loud. I want to get out unplugged from time to time. Cecile, do you want to share? Are you still here, Cecile? Do you want to share that?
Hello, hello, hello.
Hi.
Sorry for the background. Yeah, I realized hearing you that, in fact, I never say it straight. I never dare to say to my team, hey, you know, last week of the month, I'll be out of duty and please let me alone in my office to do the things I want to do to go further.
Yeah.
So I'll start from that, say it loud. I need this week out, not to run out for the moment, but not be involved in the day-to-day tasks so that I can focus on fun planning.
Yeah.
So thank
I
you.
think it's that communication, right? It's this idea of like I I can I don't know how to say it other than I can state my needs. I can state my needs. Thank you, Cecile. Thank you for that insight. I just thought I'd love to hear from whoever else. If you know somebody who should be here tomorrow and the next day, you can give them this link. If you're thinking, oh, I have a friend who belongs here. Um, Danielle, the language in the welcome packet about taking time off, do you think you're going to use it?
Yeah, well, I don't know that I'll use it right away, but certainly the idea of saying like, I just, don't expect me to respond to your emails on Fridays or Mondays or whatever, like that,
Yeah, we can
that I
start with
think will
that,
be.
right? Yeah, super happy for you. That's great. Um, Anne, incorporating it in the structure in the very first communication, it's actually doable to incorporate already. Having the awareness makes it possible to incorporate. Yeah, do you want to say anything more about that, Anne?
Well, it's about having the clarity because when we have the clarity, then it's easier to express our boundaries instead of being irritated of having our boundaries crossed over. So just being aware of it, that then it's easier to build up the system and actually know that this is what I'm going to do. Also to prevent burnout and yeah, all the other reasons. So I think
Yeah.
that's my 2 coins.
Yeah, and it's all what I'm reading between the lines is also just giving yourself permission, right? Permission to want it, permission to have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Anne. I appreciate you being here. Karina, are you? I'm not sure if Karina's still here, but she said for me, it is that I recognize a lot of what you say. Thank you. Sandy, I need to look at the 2027 calendar and plan time off first. Absolutely. Virginie, it's more of a confirmation that we need to stick to our organizational decisions and commit to walk the talk. Absolutely. Um, Zoom user, this is valuable as a new, just starting a business now. To witness your beautiful, valuable grief of your own early business days and the loss of time as a mother is very beautiful and meaningful. My free time matters more than anything, and I'm claiming the audacity to shape my work this way because it feels sustainable. Heartstorming. Yes, Cecilia. Heartstorming versus brainstorming. That's great, Shannon. Thank you. What's coming up for me is I don't feel like I can go from 0 to 14, but I can plan toward it. Is this a nervous system issue? Do you want me to coach you, Erin? Do you want to open up your line?
Sure. And you know me.
Yeah, I know and love you. I think it's a combination of nervous system and deserving and just structure, just like how do we set that in to your Pilates studio? Like what are the specifics of it, right?
Yeah, and a big part of it is the structure and just having the staff, which I've been committed to doing more and more training of staff that they will be able to take it off my plate. But because it's not there yet, I know like it feels momentous at this moment, but I know if I just keep taking these steps, I'll get there. And I think I do need to do some tapping on it as well.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. So one of the questions I would have you write down before tomorrow is when I think of going from 0 to 14, what fears and beliefs come up? And that we can talk about on the next Q&A, but you can also tap on.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Erin. Yep, thank you so much. Yeah, and maybe it's just about starting with a Friday, right? Or starting to implement Fridays, just Fridays. That's right, Anne. And yeah, I did mention you're not going to implement all of this within the next week or two. We can implement it from in the next 6 months, 12 months. And I like the idea of looking at your 2027 calendar. And one of the things that I did um, is to really just like first plug in all the school calendars, right? It's just like an easy one. And then think about make a list of like where if you want to travel. And by the way, sometimes I travel, right? So I'm going to Greece soon. I am planning on going to Barcelona, Croatia. These are all this year. And I want to do those things and I'm booking those, but not I don't want to make it seem like the last week of every month I'm going on a vacation because I I don't want to do that. You know, um but taking the calendar and just saying, okay, if I want to go, let's say to Barcelona or Paris or Provence, like a when is the ideal time to go to Barcelona? And then pick a week at that month. When do I want to experience Paris? Oh, April, then block out a week in April. And you look at your 2027 calendar now in July of 2026 and you start putting some blockers in there, right? Uh, Joe, my insight, it's possible I need to be creative even if I'm not able to hire someone right now. I have, however, managed to being able to take a half of Thursday off consistently. I just need to build on it. That's right, Joe. High five, right? Well done. So tomorrow we'll talk about how to set it up so your team can handle you taking this much time off and doesn't freak out, panic, and call you, right? Um, but if you don't have a team yet, it's just about expanding on that half day that you're already taking off on Thursdays. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. I'm just really glad you're here. Yep. I know some people, this is scheduled for just 1 hour and I just wanted to just be here a little bit extra if some of you wanted to stay. Virginie, I had to overcome the fear of not having any clients and satisfied clients working this way. And it was just a fear as it didn't happen. In fact, yeah, that's absolutely true, Virginie. Are you here, Virginie? Do you want to open up your line? Maybe not. I'll be away for 2.5 months in Asia between Bali, India, and Bhutan to lead my retreats. Amazing. That sounds amazing, Sunita. Wow. I've never been to any of those places. I'm glad it was impactful, Tony. Until tomorrow. See you then. All right, everyone, open up your lines. It was great to be with you today. This is what we do in Bold Heart. Everybody opens up their lines and then we say goodbye to each other all at once. Okay, ready? Bye, everybody. Thanks for
Bye.
coming today. We'll
Bye,
see you
thank you.
tomorrow. Same time,
Bye.
same place. Bye.
Bye.